Ashton-Jeanty, between yards and yards before contact and yards after contact, all these sorts of, they're giving him nothing. He is getting hit constantly behind the line of scrimmage, multiple yards behind the line of scrimmage, and frankly, at this point, I think he's essentially out of the race, and this is partly due to Emeka Egbuka having a great year, Tyler Warren putting up big numbers. Ted McMillan, I think, is maybe the most talented player overall in the rookie class.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The leader right now in the clubhouse in the odds market is Fernando Mendoza. College football purists, yep, absolutely know that guy. Fantastic. He's a great quarterback. Non-purists who are tuning in just for the biggest games, who is this guy, Joe, and how did he get here?
He came from Cal. He's a mobile kid. He's big. He's about 6'3", about 220. He's a gutty kid and had a great performance for Kirk Cignetti.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
We're in a weird place with Trevor Lawrence. This was another one of these quote-unquote can't-miss generational quarterback prospects, right? Everybody was salivating over when he was a freshman winning national championships. And here we are, about 5 years later, looking at ourselves going, is it just time for Trevor Lawrence to get a change of venue or something? Like, what's got to give here? Hopefully this Liam Cohen offense starts to come together.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Americans got to find answers in these partnerships, and I think they need to look at their who's making these decisions from a stat standpoint.
Well, it's so funny to me, especially coming off of the Walker Cup just a few weeks before, how it just seems like there's this glaring chasm between American partnered match play and American individual, singles match play.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Great to have you here. Tyrone A. Johnson here, as always. 3-0 with his picks again this weekend. Hotter than a pistol. Look, tons of stuff to get through. All the baseball from the weekend, of course. NFL Week 5 almost in the books. One more game tonight. Kansas City, by the way, can kind of lay claim to not just that they're back, but they might be the team to beat again based on what they do tonight against Jacksonville. Much more on that coming up in just a little bit. I'm trying to figure out, driving into work in my Hyundai Elantra, coming in here, buying the $3 bagel I buy because the $5 bagel ain't much better. Who had the worst weekend? Was it the city of New York, my city, or was it Tyrone City, the city of Philadelphia? And it's pretty close as to which one of us had a worse weekend. Let me start with New York. The New York Yankees lose Game 1 and Game 2 by a combined score of 437,000 to 1. Embarrass themselves up in Toronto. Can't get a hit. Can't do nothing. And now they're in a 2-0 hole to Toronto, coming back for Game 3 tomorrow night in the Bronx. Well, yes, they are better. And yes, they've been better against Toronto at home versus on the road. But you're in an 0-2 hole. It's a best of 5. It ain't a best of 7. Highly unlikely the Yankees come all the way back and force a Game 5 and win that in Toronto on Friday night. All right, fine, that's the Yankees. Let's go to the New York Jets. The New York Jets are playing the worst defense in the NFC in the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are missing 4 out of their 5 starting offensive linemen, and the one guy that did start didn't finish the game because he got hurt. CeeDee Lamb is not playing in that game yesterday, but did that stop the Dallas Cowboys from thoroughly embarrassing the New York Jets and putting that game away at halftime? No, it did not. The New York Jets are now the only winless team in all of football. I was going to celebrate that because it means I get the first pick in the draft. I get any one of the stud quarterbacks that's coming out. I'll probably screw the pick up, but that's the New York Jets. The New York Jets are the most unprepared, poorly coached, undisciplined, boring football team I have ever seen in my life. But not to worry, New Yorkers, because the New York Giants and their new heartthrob and phenom, Jackson Dart, who threw for a whopping 111 yards in the opening game of his career, we're going up against the winless Spencer Rattler-led New Orleans Saints. And oh, by the way, they had a lead in the first half and looked like they might run away with it. But then on 5 consecutive possessions, I am not making that up. That is not hyperbole. On 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive possessions, what do the Giants do? They turn the ball over 5 times. That is a record in the NFL. And when the dust settles, the New York Giants cannot beat the New Orleans Saints. They are a 1-win team. And now the Saints are a 1-win team. And for those of you that thought Jackson Dart was the end-all be-all, I say to you now, huh? 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 Jackson Dart might look like he's poised, but Jackson Dart right now is an overwhelmed rookie quarterback playing for a bad football team with bad coaching on the sideline. And look at his numbers. Look, I'll put my glasses on to look at him. That ain't rock star stuff.
No.
That ain't rock star stuff. 40 pass attempts and only 200 passing yards. I did the math just now in my head. That's 5 yards per attempt. That's high school stuff. So Jackson Dart's got a long way to go before the New York Giants are going to be any good. So the Yankees lose 2. The New York Jets are the only winless team in all football and embarrass themselves against the Dallas Cowboys. And the New York Giants just don't like good things, don't deserve good things. They can't capitalize on the win against a very good Chargers team last week, make it 2 in a row, get to 2 and 3 before Thursday night's beatdown against the Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles, I go to Tyrone now, because Tyrone's a Philadelphia kid. Yeah. Grew up in Pennsauken, New Jersey. That's South Jersey, making him by birth, right, a Philadelphia fan. All right, how did the Philadelphia sports teams do? Well, I'm going to tell you. The Phillies have a 3-0 lead at home against the Los Angeles Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani pitching, and they crapped it right down the toilet, so they lose game 1 at home. Yeah. Remember, the Yankees lost their games on the road in Toronto. Philly can't take care of home field advantage. They're down 0-1. They play tonight. Game 2.
Just
all
one
right,
game.
Fine.
Just one game.
No problem, though, Tyrone. No problem.
Yeah.
Because you got the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles.
Uh-huh.
Woohoo! The 4-0 Eagles. Despite the fact they didn't complete a single pass in the second half last week, they still scored 30 points. And here comes Philly. Philly gets out to a 17-3 lead. 17-3 against the Denver Broncos. And while the Eagles' offense didn't look great, you have the nice touchdown pass down the field to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
You have Jalen Hurts throwing the ball more all over the field than he has thus far this year.
Yep.
And yet, here come the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. I think I can. It's 17-10. What? They're within a touchdown. I know what we should do. Let's score another touchdown, and let's go for 2. Let's take the lead on the road, and let's make Philadelphia fans panic a little bit. And they make the touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion on that quick little out pass to the right side of the end zone. Yeah. And now Philly, for the first time seemingly all year, fourth quarter, playing from behind. So you know what Philly's going to do. You got to go to your 2,000-yard running back. You got to feed that dude the rock, right? And Saquon Barkley, 7 carries for the entire game. Saquon Barkley, 5 games into the season, is averaging about 50 yards a game on the ground. 2,000 yards, my ass.
He knows counting. They don't subtract him from last year.
A.J. Brown gets wide open down the middle, but he's slowed down on the route. Jalen Hurts throws it thinking he's going to keep running because that's what professional athletes do. He slows down. Ball gets overthrown. No touchdown. After the game, A.J. Brown, he missed me. I was wide open. That's 6. So now you've got to divide an obvious one between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And with the game on the line, money on the line, questionable no call. I want to look like a pass interference down right near the goal line. I'll be honest. I thought he interfered with him. Yeah. No call. Can't ask the refs to bail you out because that's what weak people do. That's right. What weak teams do. That's what insecure fans do. It was the refs. No. It wasn't the refs. You stopped scoring. You're up 14 points, and you stopped scoring, and you allowed Denver to come all the way back. So the Eagles now are sitting at 4-1. The Bills lost last night, so the Philadelphia Eagles and the Bills were the last 2 undefeated teams in football. There are no longer any undefeated teams, but Philly's now nursing its wounds, saying to themselves, are we for real or are we frauds? And that's a fair question to ask because they won the first 4 games this season, because they just know how to close teams out usually.
Yeah.
They've not played great football. Ask them. You could ask the biggest Eagle fan I know out there, which would be Tyrone or my wife or my daughter or my father-in-law.
They haven't played well.
They have not played a full
well.
60-minute game yet where we could say to ourselves, the Eagles are back.
Right.
Fair?
Very fair.
Kansas City, I think, did that last week when they dismantled Baltimore.
Yes.
That looked like the old Kansas City Chiefs.
But it was Baltimore.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Eagles have had the toughest schedule in the NFL so far.
I'm with you on that. But there's something wrong in Philly. Can they fix it? 100% they can fix it. Obviously, Dickerson went out yesterday, so their offensive line took a bit of a hit. I still believe in the Eagles. I do very much. I think they will easily win that division, although Jaden Daniels coming back looked pretty good yesterday in that game against the Chargers, who've now lost back-to-back games. But I can't figure out for the life of me, and I have a vote, you have a vote, and the fans will break the tie. I think New York had a worse weekend than Philadelphia because the Yankees lost 2, albeit on the road. You guys only lost 1. You play tonight. At home, the Jets embarrassed themselves. The Giants embarrassed themselves. And the Eagles, I think, got exposed a bit. They didn't embarrass themselves, but they got exposed. Which city had the worst weekend?
For me, it's New York because of the 2 games.
So no tie. No tie here in the Craig Carton Show. It's a 2-0 victory. New York, we're the biggest losers on the planet. And by the way, if the Buffalo Bills really want to congratulate Toronto for the 2-0 start, the Bills lost yesterday also.
Yep.
Let's count that as a New York loss as well.
Sure.
What a terrible weekend. I mean, brutal. You get nothing. The only joy I got was watching Penn State lose to UCLA. We'll get into that fraud coming up in a little bit. We got a great show for you today. Thank you for joining. It is the Craig Carton Show. Well, Shadur, which quarterbacks are you talking about? Because there is some bad quarterback play out there. But the dude who can't beat Dylan Gabriel out for a job and can't beat Joe Flacco out for a job certainly can't lay claim to being better than any other quarterback in the league.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. That's you're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
he's mentally broken too. Like, it's to the point where, like, Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in,
right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like, he's done.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquel Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. And you can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
You saw it?
I'll be honest, I'm just struggling a bit. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what did we do wrong in our lives as New York football fans? Put the Yankees aside. Like, they're in the playoffs at least.
Yeah.
And if they lose to the Blue Jays, to be fair, the Blue Jays, along with them, had the best record in the American League. And you lost 2 games on the road. So, yeah, if they get swept, legitimate complaints, and you want to fire everybody, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But they lost 2 playoff games on the road. It was embarrassing how they lost. But you lose by 1, you lose by 20, don't matter. A loss is a loss. But I'm trying to figure out, Like, just because Joe Namath banged everything that walked back in the 60s and early 70s, do we have to pay some kind of like voodoo doll price for that?
Yes.
And the Giants stole 2 Super Bowl wins with Eli Manning. They were not the better team in either of those games against the Patriots. You get the David Tyree helmet catch. You get the Mario Manningham beautiful pass from Eli.
Yeah.
Sideline somehow keeps his feet in bounds. And, the Giants kind of steal 2 Super Bowls from New England. But are Giant fans going to pay the price on that for the next 25 years? Like, how long is the bad will on that? Because, everyone bought into the fact that the Saints was the easy spot. I did too. You did.
Yeah.
On the Giant schedule. And I did not think it was the right move to go to Jackson Dart against the Chargers. I was wrong. He gave them a spark. They won the game. His numbers stunk, but he still won the game. It was great with his legs. Ran for a couple touchdowns in that game. And then you're like, all right, great, the Saints stink. But we sat here on Friday and said there's something fugazi going on because the Giants went from 2.5-point favorites to 1.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it going like, why? Spencer Rattler sucks. The Saints suck. I like to say stink, but when you suck, you suck. And I'm like, the Giants coming off, a feel-good win against the Chargers. If this kid's for real, they'll go to New Orleans and take care of business. They get to 2-3 before they play the Eagles twice in the next 3 weeks. And where's it? The Broncos in the middle there, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you're talking about now a pissed-off Eagle team coming to just lay the smackdown against the Giants. A Bronco team that went into Philly and beat Philly. And then a still pissed-off Eagle team a week after that. So if you got to 2-3, you could try to convince yourselves just win 1 out of the next 3, be a 3-5 team, and keep wild card hopes alive.
Yeah.
Right? You still get to play the Dallas Cowboys again. So I think that's a fair way to look at it. And you had a lead in the game. And it looked like things might go your way. And then all of a sudden, you get the Scatterbo fumble return for the touchdown. You get a couple bad interceptions. Not all of them, to be fair, should be on Jackson Dart. That's the way it goes.
I think it's 1-1.
Like at one play, I think it was Hyatt, his wide receiver, literally just stopped running his route.
Yep.
And he threw it to where he was supposed to be, and the Hyatt didn't go there, and it got picked.
Yeah.
Well, I know statistically it's on Jackson. And I know they let him throw the ball 40 times, so they're certainly starting to believe in him. But you lost to the Saints. Like, where I come from, the mean streets of the Bronx, New York, you get fired, you lose to a winless Saints team.
You still lying to people about this?
What happened?
Because
I was born in Manhattan. I moved to the Bronx. I grew up in New Rochelle. But I had 3 tough years in the Bronx. And the very tough part of the Bronx, we call it Riverdale. Very, very tough there. Go watch the movie Fort Apache, The Bronx, and you'll see the Bronx I grew up in.
I was
selling.
You had the biggest house in the Bronx, I told you. Lived in the biggest house in the Bronx.
House. I was in an apartment building in 1972.
The whole building.
I didn't have a whole building. I had a small little corner apartment in 1970, 71, 72. And then I moved out to the plush suburbs of New Rochelle.
All right.
Talk about my upbringing.
You're still doing it.
I was a minority in my own high school. You understand that? That's the way it was back in the 70s in New Rochelle. In any event, you can't lose to the winless New Orleans Saints.
You can't.
And if you were going to fire Brian Daboll, now's a good time to do it. Because when you lose to the winless Saints, there ain't no reason to bring a guy back. That's when you have to accept the fact you're not very good at your job. And then the flip side is the Jets. Haven't we lost enough? I've been telling people for 3 years now that Justin Fields is a slot receiver, not a quarterback. And every week he just proves that. And every week the Jets still roll him out there telling us he's the best bet we have at quarterback. More turnovers, more penalties, more lack of discipline, and an embarrassing game. Again, the Dallas Cowboys came into that game with the best offense in football, the worst defense in football statistically. So if you told me it's going to be a shootout, that would have made sense because the Dallas Cowboys can't stop a runny nose. But when the Jets come into town, all of a sudden, that Cowboy defense looks like it's the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
Like you can. And don't look at the 22 points. They scored a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter when the Cowboys were already on the sideline eating ham sandwiches and laughing at them. Right? And now what's going to happen? The freaking Kansas City Chiefs tonight beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, go over 500. They go to 3-2. And you look around the AFC, And you got to start saying to yourself, I know Worthy might not play tonight. That's a side story for Tyrone's pick later. But let's be fair about it. Because the Bills lost yesterday, the Ravens gave up another 40-burger against the freaking Houston Texans, who've had zero offense this year. And now we're going to sit back and go, is this happening again? Is Kansas City about to become the dominant team once again in the AFC? The Chargers lost yesterday.
Again.
The Ravens are this close to being knocked out of the playoffs, and yet for some reason they still have the best odds to win the division, like the Steelers don't exist. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Buffalo lost
yesterday to Drake May. The New England Patriots made Drake May look like the second coming of Josh Allen, the way he's throwing the ball all over the field, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, who's the one team you don't want to play? And if they win tonight, and I think the Jaguars will put up a fight, and they're playing better football. Give Liam Cohen credit than they did most of last year. So I think it'll be competitive. But I think Kansas City is going to win. And when Kansas City wins tonight, while there'll be a game out of the best record in the AFC, you can't sleep on them anymore.
No.
We can't talk about them like there has-beens. We can't discuss is the era over, because the reality is ain't nobody's taking it. It's like when you see the American 4x400 team, and they can't pass the baton to one another, and it drops on the track. Like, who wants the baton? Who wants to be the best team in the AFC? Kansas City gave you an opening. Kansas City dropped the baton. And while they were trying to pick it up, ain't nobody took over. So now the Kansas City Chiefs got the baton back, and now they're right there neck and neck. They win tonight. They're a game out of the best record in the conference. Pissing me off. Like, what did I do with my... I guess I did a couple bad things. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
What did the collective we? The collective we. What did the collective we do?
Keep me out of it.
Yeah.
Collectively, what did you people do? I know what I did. What did you people do? You people are in trouble. It's on you, not me, you.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
60,000 drunk New Yorkers who were there from 5 in the morning to 7 p.m., who dropped a house mortgage on a ticket to watch the United States team miss every putt that they can possibly miss, and you think someone's not going to get pissed off and curse people out? Wah! The golf fan wasn't civil. Wah!
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
$341 million of payroll. Best record in Major League Baseball through June 12th. Fifth worst record after that. They would have made the playoffs, as his tweet says, because why? They just needed a win on Sunday versus Miami, and they couldn't beat the Marlins, who have like a $50 million payroll. The Metropolitans are out, but hey guys, did you see Juan Soto's great season?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Not betting-wise, action-wise. Like, I got to watch this game at 12.
I want to see Notre Dame, Arkansas. I want to see.
He's in, people. He's in.
I'll tell you another game.
Dame.
It's under. I want to see Duke and Syracuse at 12:45.
Nobody wants to see that game.
Stop.
I mean, there's people that we know that would like that game, but we don't want to watch that game. You know what I mean? We're not watching any of that game.
Ricky Collins?
Big game Saturday, Joe.
Okay.
I need your focus back for this. It's the SEC. It just means more.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I appreciate everybody watching us live on SportsGrid right now. Don't forget, bang us on YouTube at 1 o'clock and a rerun on SportsGrid later at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Plus, they tell me it's official. We're now also a podcast, so if you want more of the Craig Carton Show and some exclusive content coming soon, you can get us on Apple and Spotify. I don't know where else you get podcasts, but clearly you'll get them there too. So make sure you subscribe right now to the Craig Carton Show. We appreciate it. And again, some exclusive podcast-only content coming up. All right. A couple things from the weekend. I know it's a quicker segment here before we got to take a break and then regroup. I was trying to figure out the biggest fraud in college sports.
All of college.
In all of college football, obviously, right?
Okay, yeah.
But here we are, almost midway through the college football season, a little short of that.
It's already week 7.
Yeah, like who's the biggest fraud in college football? And there's only two.
Uh-huh.
One's a team, it's a team/coach, and the other one's a player. Is that fair?
Okay.
So I'll do the player first. The biggest fraud in all of college football from a player standpoint is Arch Manning. Arch Manning is a disaster at the University of Texas. Like, if I was Texas, I would call up the NFL and ask if we could get Quinn Ewers back and forget the fact that he's been on an NFL roster for a couple weeks this year. Because Arch Manning is an embarrassment. Matter of fact, I heard the Mannings are going on the Maury Povich show to have a DNA test. Like, that's how bad he's been. A couple more interceptions this weekend. And when he's not playing up against, like, an FCS school, he sucks. He has been miserably bad against every legitimate opponent that Texas has had. And let's be honest, UCLA is not a legitimate opponent. Right? I'm sorry. I can play Florida. Florida, this year particularly, not a legitimate opponent. No. So when you go up against like a Division I school, Arch Manning plays like I would play. And I got a torn labrum and torn right rotator cuff. And for some reason, it seemed like there's no threat for the backup quarterback to get his job. And of all the years for the Jets to have the first overall pick, the best quarterback on paper sucks in real life, right?
Yeah.
So Arch Manning's a joke. But there's a bigger fraud than Arch Manning because at the end of the day, Arch Manning's still just a kid. Yeah. Right? He's just not a very good football player.
First year as a starter. He can come back for 2 more years after this. He has eligibility.
Thus far, he's being exposed.
Oh, yeah.
He ain't a very good college quarterback at that level, okay?
No.
And Texas has to, slurp that up and swallow it, and so does the Manning family. He ain't very good. The other fraud, though, which I think is even bigger than Arch Manning, happens to be James Franklin and Penn State. Let me show you a tweet that James Franklin put out. This is embarrassing. To me, this is fireable.
Yeah.
Game week. Let's do this together and go 1-0, Nittany Nation. Northwestern, hashtag we are.
We
and
are
you
what?
all say Penn State.
Yeah, no, not anymore, we don't.
Let me tell you where you are. You're an embarrassment right now. It's one thing to lose to Oregon. Oregon's one of the top 3 teams in all of college football, and it was a double overtime game. All right, sucks that you lost on Whiteout Night last week, but you lost. Okay, fine. Lost to a really good team. Your quarterback throws the pick in double OT, and you lose. Great. UCLA came into this game without a single win. They were like the New Orleans Saints of college football. Their offensive coordinator for this game got the job 48 hours before the game and had never used the headset. Rick Neuheisel's kid, whose first name escapes me right now, it doesn't even matter. So a brand new OC who's never had a headset on, a winless UCLA team, and you're coming off a bad loss to Oregon, but okay, top 10 team.
Right.
James Franklin against top 10 teams is 4-90. He cannot beat a top 10 team. So what do you figure he's going to do? He's going to lay the smackdown on a winless, embarrassingly bad Bruins program out in L.A.
To the point where they had not had a lead this season.
UCLA.
At any point.
Right.
At any point.
So this should be easy peasy, laying 20-some-odd points. Penn State goes in. They get themselves right. They stay in the top 15, and they stay very much alive for a playoff. But this is the new Penn State, the frauds that they are. They go to UCLA. They probably didn't even practice. They were like, we're Penn State, they're UCLA. We're good, they're bad. Easy peasy. We'll drop a 50 burger on them. We'll go home, bang some cheerleaders, and we'll have a nice day. UCLA gave them all they wanted. And when I woke up this morning, the Penn State Nittany Crybabies are not in the top 25. The season is over. James Franklin's going to be fired at the end of this season, if not sooner. Drew Aller's a lousy quarterback. And all those of you that are members of the Penn State cult, woo! Your season came to an end before Halloween, and that's something I can wrap my arms around and bear hug and enjoy every bit of. What a bunch of frauds. Can't beat UCLA. Keep playing Villanova and the Fashion Institute to get you early wins this year. So happy to see Penn State lose.
Ashton Genty, between yards and yards before contact and yards after contact, all these sorts of, they're giving him nothing. He is getting hit constantly behind the line of scrimmage, multiple yards behind the line of scrimmage, and frankly, at this point, I think he's essentially out of the race, and this is partly due to Emeka Buka having a great year, Tyler Warren putting up big numbers. Tet McMillan, I think, is maybe the most talented player overall in the rookie class.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The leader right now in the clubhouse in the odds market is Fernando Mendoza. College football purists, yep, absolutely know that guy. Fantastic. He's a great quarterback. Non-purists who are tuning in just for the biggest games, who is this guy, Joe, and how did he get here?
He came from Cal. He's a mobile kid. He's big. He's about 6'3", about 220. He's a gutty kid and had a great performance for Kirk Signetti.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
We're in a weird place with Trevor Lawrence. This was another one of these quote-unquote can't-miss generational quarterback prospects, right? Everybody was salivating over when he was a freshman winning national championships. And here we are, about 5 years later, looking at ourselves going, is it just time for Trevor Lawrence to get a change of venue or something? Like, what's got to give here? Hopefully this Liam Cohen offense starts to come together.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Americans got to find answers in these partnerships, and I think they need to look at who's making these decisions from a stat standpoint.
Well, it's so funny to me, especially coming off of the Walker Cup just a few weeks before, how it just seems like there's this glaring chasm between American partnered match play and American individual, singles match play.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Some breaking news now from something that happened over the weekend. Really crazy story involving Mark Sanchez, who is a Fox broadcaster, who is involved in a late-night altercation out in Indianapolis. He was in town to do the Indy game for Fox. And the way this story was reported, there are folks that should go back to journalism school who really jumped the gun on what they thought happened versus what really did happen. So as the story goes, it's really kind of crazy. The story, as we've now been told from the police and I guess the DA out in Indy, is that Mark was drinking at a bar on Friday night into Saturday, in town again to do the Colts game. Was running wind sprints, because who doesn't do that when you visit Indianapolis, in like an alleyway between a bar he was drinking at and some other establishments.
Okay.
A 69-year-old guy minding his own business drove what amounts to like a box truck into the alleyway, and the guy was there for his job, which was exchanging out dirty oil for new oil for like friolators, wings and nachos, that kind of stuff, right? And Mark didn't like the fact that the guy was blocking his way of running wind sprints. Now, the story as it goes now is Mark physically attacked the guy, at least allegedly. That's what the story is, though. Threw him to the ground. The guy feared for his life. He tried to pepper spray him. Mark threw the pepper spray, kept attacking him. And then the guy pulled out a knife, again in self-defense, and stabbed Mark 2 or 3 times, causing him, obviously, grave injury. He was then rushed to the hospital. He is now in stable condition. He has been released from the hospital right to the local police department, where he paid a $300 cash bond to get out. But the breaking part of the story is they've now upgraded the charges against Mark Sanchez to a felony.
Yeah, this is from Ryan Mears. He's the Marion County prosecutor. It's a felony charge of battery resulting in serious bodily injury.
Yeah, we've seen the picture of the gentleman. Again, this is essentially a 70-year-old man.
Yeah, so
All right,
just be ready for it. It's a little.
Yeah, it's a little graphic. He's laid up in the hospital. He has what amounts to 3 or 4 inch, cut or like he got
a gash.
Gash of some kind that went through his cheek, cut his tongue. Ooh. So I assume that was with the knife that he had. I don't know that to be factual. Yeah. But all signs point to this being allegedly a drunk Mark Sanchez attacking somebody unprovoked for absolutely no reason. But it was interesting because when the story first came out, the original story was that Mark had been robbed. There was a burglary, and it was like 12:30 at night, into the early morning hours of Saturday. And on the surface, believable story. It's 1 o'clock in the morning essentially. Guys out on the street, and someone tried to mug him.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
A famous enough guy. Yeah. You think he has money.
And by the way, we just saw this happen in London with the backup quarterback. I'm forgetting which team.
Yeah, I forget. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it was the Steelers' backup quarterback. He got mugged out in London last week, whatever it was. So what's interesting is that, like, all of the Fox colleagues, and I get where they're coming from. You don't know any more of the story than we do. Right. Skylar Thompson got mugged in London, right?
Apparently no complaint was filed, though. He just wanted to go away.
Yeah, and he wasn't hurt.
And it was in Ireland.
He just had some of his stuff stolen, I guess.
Yeah.
But, of course, the initial reaction is thoughts and prayers for Mark Sanchez, with no thought at all to the other guy in the squabble.
Right.
To this moment, and maybe I've missed it if I have, my apologies, I've not seen a single person come out and go, thoughts and prayers to the 69-year-old man who is brutally attacked by an alleged drunk guy in an alleyway and has a huge gash in his face that went through his cheek into his tongue and feared for his life.
Right.
I've not seen a single person in the media put out that tweet, right?
No.
Everyone jumped to conclusions that Mark had been robbed or mugged or held up. And the reality is, according to police and the DA out there, Mark was the aggressor here. Oh. And that's why they've now upgraded the charges from misdemeanor to felony. He could do 1 to 6 years in prison for the violent physical attack on a 69-year-old man minding his own business. And it reminds me all the time, we all have, well, me included, you included at certain stages, this desire to run to Twitter or Instagram or whatever social media platform you use and get your name out there. You want people to know that you send your regards, right? And when you do that online, most of the time, and myself included, we're doing it for ourselves. We want people to know that we're sensitive and caring, and we want the person in the story to know that we reached out, that we care so much, and you have our thoughts and prayers. Most of those posts are about us. We want other people to see that we're sensitive and caring. But I haven't seen a single person in the media come out and say thoughts and prayers to the 69-year-old man who was brutally attacked. Right? Now, look, I want Mark to get better also.
Right.
I'm glad the injuries weren't life-threatening. I want him to live to see another day. It's not like I would take back my thoughts and prayers for someone I know to recover from multiple stab wounds, obviously. But the focus should be on the innocent guy who is merely doing his job at 1 o'clock in the morning, changing out oil in a local sports bar, and got thrown to the ground, thrown against his car. Mark allegedly tried to get into his truck and drive it out of the alleyway so that he could go back to running wind sprints.
Who likes
crazy town?
Who likes running that much?
Crazy town. So my thoughts and prayers do go out to the 69-year-old man doing his job who was brutally attacked by a former NFL football player for absolutely no reason. And in addition to that, of course, we want Mark to recover from his injuries. I've known Mark since he was a rookie in the NFL, all right? I've known him for a very, very long time. I've thought of him prior to this as being a decent guy who, like many of us when we were younger, made some bad decisions with who he associated with and some of the things he did, but I wrote it off as youthful indiscretion because we've all been there. But at near 40 years old, if you can't control your liquor intake and you're violently attacking an innocent 69-year-old man, it is time at that point to look in the mirror and understand you have a problem. And you are the problem. I don't know if he's an alcoholic or not. He clearly has an issue with booze in this particular instance, and I hope he gets the help he needs. I hope this guy recovers from his injuries and is able to go on about his life. But across the board, there was a crazy jump to conclusions, knee-jerk reaction that Mark had to have been in the right and the assailant had to have been the guy that he attacked. And everyone could do better. Everybody.
Absolutely.
That's how I view that.
You're absolutely right. And it feels like people just want to be, they don't even want to be right anymore. Right. They just want to be first.
Right.
They want to
That's
be
what it
first.
is.
Right. And that's terrible.
Adam Schefter did that also.
Yeah, he did.
The initial report he put out is that he was robbed.
Right. That's not true.
I assume he's updated this story. I'm not sure if he put in my bad.
I don't think he put in a my bad.
Speaking of my bad.
He did update it.
Is a my bad enough in this spot? Not for Mark, like for those people that came out and ignored the fact that essentially a 70-year-old guy got attacked by a former football player. If you go out there and get the story wrong, does my bad cover you?
Now, I believe Schefter has deleted, I believe.
He deleted it, so he didn't apologize for it? He just deleted it?
I'm looking at his social media.
That's worse for me.
Yeah, and then you have other people who jump to other conclusions that are now doubling, tripling down on him, even though it's proven wrong. This is an ugly story in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, because it brings out the worst in a lot of people, because not everyone, there are a few people that like to go right as quickly as they can down Stereotype Avenue.
Just, where can I find one? Let me grab one. Let me grab one. Let me grab which one? I get that one. I can get that one. I can get that one.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like it immediately became. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah,
it became.
To the audience, be honest. What you initially thought, some people ran with it all the way.
Yeah.
All the way.
That's right.
You might have said, well, let's wait a second, or I don't know.
Like, let's find out the true story. Like, let's get some details. Let's see, the cameras in the alleyway. Let's find. No, let's not.
Was there an arrest made? Yeah, Mark. Yeah, there was an arrest. Mark.
Look, I've been arrested before, but I can't imagine what it's like to come out of surgery with handcuffs on.
Right. Like, what if he really was blackout drunk, and then he wakes up in the hospital? And he's like trying to move.
He's like, what happened? And by the way, police did talk to him, and when he came to after the surgery, he said he had no recollection at all, which indicates he's either lying or he was blackout drunk.
Yeah, which
sounds plausible.
Yeah,
because when's the last time you challenged a guy to run wind sprints in a city you don't live in?
Never.
Right?
No one's
So this story's crazy. More of it's going to come out. It's not going to get any better. We got to hope this gentleman is okay. More coming up after this.
That team are going to stretch them over the top, but I still think it's blue-collar football, Big Ten style. That's where USC has struggled. I do not think Lincoln Riley, I'm sorry, is a good head coach. He's a great quarterback whisperer. He coaches from an offensive coordinator position, doesn't make halftime adjustments, and that's where I give the edge to Bielema. I don't like this game, but I would take the points with Illinois.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
There were some reports earlier this week that Russell Wilson may be sought after somewhat during the trade deadline. A lot of people have been talking about Jameis shipping him to the Bengals as they just need a quarterback to throw the ball. I think they need to move Russell Wilson out. Even though he says he does not want to be moved, you got to get back an asset if you can.
Oh, you do. Does he go to a team like the Saints? Where does he go?
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
It's time to sell high. Let's sell high now, Joe. Give me some sneaky sneakies. What do you got?
Yeah, it's Matt's favorite way to sell. Everybody knows that. All right, let's talk about David Montgomery. Look, Montgomery had a big total last week, but really most of it was on one big run. I still feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is the guy here as you continue to move forward with Detroit. I'm not saying you have to get rid of him for nothing.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
60,000 drunk New Yorkers who were there from 5 in the morning to 7 p.m., who dropped a house mortgage on a ticket to watch the United States team miss every putt that they can possibly miss, and you think someone's not going to get pissed off and curse people out? Wah! The golf fan wasn't civil. Wah!
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, I was thinking this, watching a football weekend, being depressed. You know, the Jets were at 1 o'clock, the Giants were at 1 o'clock, the Yankees were at 4 o'clock yesterday. So it's, and the Eagles were at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, yep.
So I have a split household. My wife and daughter, diehard Eagles fans. Me and my boys, diehard Jets fans.
Makes sense.
But I only got the one television set. I ain't like you. Tyrone's got 5 TVs in his house. He can watch whatever he wants all at the same time.
Laptop and iPad.
Our producer,
Sure.
Ethan, downstairs, has 8 televisions, 4 of them in his man cave, and he watches whatever he wants.
And one of them's 100-inch TV.
Bang.
And one of them's 100-inch.
I got Jets at 1, Giants at 1, Eagles at 1, and then Yankees at 4. I can't. You try to watch everything. But I started thinking about quarterback play. You know, Jackson Dart, look, he doesn't look like the game's too much for him, but he's a rookie making some mistakes.
Yeah.
Justin Fields ain't a good quarterback. You have the most disrespected quarterback in the league, for my money, Jalen Hurts. But I decided to put together, currently, right now, in the moment, a little MVP voting.
Oh, there you go.
So I've got the top 4 candidates, according to me, for MVP voting, okay? And we'll put up a poll so you guys can all vote on it. We'll give you the results of the poll tomorrow on the show.
Actually, they can go to Craig Carton Show on Twitter right now, and they can participate in the poll right now.
Look at us. Look at us. It should be on
everybody.
It should be on all social media. Eventually it will be. No, all right.
That's right.
So here for me, for my money, these are the 4 leading candidates, or should be the 4 leading candidates for NFL MVP now that we're 5 weeks into the season. All due respect to Trevor Lawrence and Patty Mahomes tonight. Neither one of them in my top 4 anyway. Right. And I'm not saying these are the best quarterbacks. These are just the top 4 MVP choices, any position right now. All right? No particular order. Number 4, Daniel Jones of the Indianapolis Colts. That team scores at a higher rate than any other team in football, and Daniel Jones will for sure be the comeback player of the year.
Oh, yeah.
And for sure, if the Colts keep winning and take that division down, and it's theirs to lose right now, Danny Jones is getting MVP votes. No argument from you, I assume?
I can't argue with you about that.
Number 2, let's go to the OG of the group, Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford and the Rams, as good as any team in the NFC, now that the Eagles have their first loss. And I would not sleep on Matt Stafford in a big game against any defense in football. Matter of fact, he might be a top 3 choice. If I need a game I got to win on the road, I want Matthew Stafford being my quarterback. He's obviously got a couple great wide receivers. They run the football well now. But Matt Stafford is tops, I think, in touchdowns and yards right now among all quarterbacks in the NFL. So Matthew Stafford, okay? Number 3, this is a guy I've never believed in. I've never truly thought was any good. I thought he got good when he fell in love with an SI swimsuit model and then married her and then had a kid with her. But Jared Goff's balling. And as much as I still don't think Jared Goff is a Mount Rushmore quarterback in the game today, after that week 1 loss, that Detroit Lions offense has been money good.
Yeah, it has.
And it starts and ends with the performance of Jared Goff. He is an absolute MVP candidate 5 weeks into the season.
He absolutely is. I agree. I don't believe in him. I don't think he'd win it. You have not yet named the guy I think is the MVP so far, but he's probably underrated at this point because if no one believes in him, well, how's he keep winning all the time?
Yeah, and all that dude does is win. You're right.
He keeps winning all the time.
They do, and I know after week 1, the bad loss to Green Bay, everyone's like, oh, maybe the run's over. You know, it's Jared Goff's fault. And he turned around and just drops 30 and 40 every single week. And Amon St. Brown is, dude, as good as it gets. Yeah. If you say Justin Jefferson and you say Jamar Chase, you better say Amon St. Brown as well. He's in the conversation. But those 3 guys, to me, are not the leader in the clubhouse. The leader in the clubhouse right now for MVP, and we know it's a quarterback award, which is why I'm only including quarterbacks. Yeah. There's other guys out there having great years at different positions. I'm doing this based on QBs. Is the guy the New York Jets could have signed 2 years ago, I guess 3 years ago, when they signed Aaron Rodgers. He's the guy the New York Giants could have committed to after deciding to get rid of Daniel Jones. He's the guy every single team, for that matter, had a chance to go get, and only one team said, we'll take you and we'll see what happens. The MVP of the NFL right now today, October 6, 2025, is Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are now 4-1, and all 4 of their wins have happened in the final 60 seconds of the game, either with a Baker touchdown pass or Baker leading them down the field to set up a game-winning field goal. They got a, they got a Sterling Shepard touchdown late. Then they got the interception with under a minute to go. Baker took him right down for field goal position, not too far to go. They make the kick, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 4-1, and it's all of it, every bit of it, is on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield. And it reminds me, Tyrone, that the Cleveland Browns had Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield took them to a postseason. He played in a playoff game for the Cleveland Browns, but because OBJ's father didn't like him, because OBJ wasn't getting the ball enough because it was all about him and not about the team's success, the Cleveland Browns did what loser organizations do. They curried favor to the more popular guy, the good-looking kid in school, and not to the better player, which was Baker Mayfield. With the current Browns defense, if Baker Mayfield were their quarterback, they would win the division this year. That's where they'd be at. But they're obviously into Dylan Gabriel now. And right now, for my money, don't sleep on Baker Mayfield as league MVP.
Yeah, he's tremendous. And I know people will try to use how good his receivers are, because I see that out there now, the same day they do with Jalen Hurts and others. It's not his fault he has good football players around.
Right. That's what, by the way, Sterling Shepard was retired.
Yeah.
And I know Sterling well. We played golf together. And Baker Mayfield called him up and said, why don't you just come down and check us out? Yeah. I still think you can play, and I'd love to throw the ball to you.
Do a little workout.
And Sterling, has a home down in Florida, and he was like, yeah, I'll swing by. Yeah. Why not? And they hit it off. They knew each other from Oklahoma. Yeah. Obviously, they went to college together. And Sterling Shepard has revitalized his career. Not his golf game, but his career. He sucks at golf. I own him on a golf course. But that's how it happens. When you have a legitimately top-tier quarterback, other good players want to play with the guy like that. And I can't show enough love and respect for Baker Mayfield, who was left for dead. Don't forget, Baker Mayfield went from Cleveland, loser program, to Carolina. Loser program. Then he went out to San Francisco for a minute. He went out to the Rams.
Right, a little rehab.
He got in that one game down late on his own 10, drove them 90 yards down the field for a touchdown to show everybody I can still play. Mm-hmm. And then Tampa's like, we don't have a quarterback. Tom Brady retired. And it worked out perfectly. Boom. Todd Bowles has become a really good coach now during games. But Baker Mayfield is my dude.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of Baker Mayfield. He right now is the leader in the clubhouse for league MVP. Coming up, who would you rather be? Aaron Judge, James Harden, or Lamar Jackson when it comes to legacies? We'll do that right after this.
Now let's get to a player who was taken in the first round of every fantasy football draft, and thus far has produced the least points, George. I mean, I thought you'd just take a rookie running back in the first round and you get yourself 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. But Boise State's Ashton Genty for the Las Vegas Raiders, we got out of excuses, right? Like at this point, it's, they got to give him the ball more. They got to do this. They got to do that. I mean, George, does this guy look like Barry Sanders? Like, that was the comparisons? Like, I haven't seen any of that yet.
Our panicometer, it doesn't go high enough here. All right, because this is, come on, we're freaking out here. I don't think it's all Genty, by the way. He has more yards after contact than before contact. That pretty much lets you know what the problem is there. All right, the Raiders needed a running back, sure, but they need an offensive line. All right, they need a couple of offensive linemen. It's not something you can fix in one off season here. So yeah, we're gonna eat it with Genty. He's not gonna be worth the first round pick in fantasy. It's just not. Not this year. In future years, we'll see here, but not this year. The offensive line is not very good. The defense is not very good, so they have to throw the ball more in the second half because they're trailing every game. So that's hurting us as well here. So, like I said, the panicometer, it doesn't go high enough for this, okay? I am more than concerned. I am not calm. I am critical. I am flipping out.
Isn't there going to be a time where he just breaks it free? George, like, what you said is not false. But I think there's a point being missed here. Why has he not broken free one time the whole season? Not once. To just run away. Like, he's Devin Singletary right now. No offense to Devin Singletary, but that's who he is.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Your Mondays are crazy because there's so much stuff to get to. We try to give you a little taste of everything, and then obviously later in the week, we can expand on a lot of this stuff. You do have a game tonight, Jacksonville and Kansas City. Tyrone was 3-0 this past weekend. So, I don't know, you're like 11-1 or something?
I'm 11-1.
11-1.
11-1.
Well,
I'm rolling.
I don't encourage you to gamble, but if you do, I hope you monetize the best 12-game streak you're ever going to have in your lifetime.
I see. It's like the sandwich. Like
it's like what sandwich?
You gotta you never can just give the compliment. Just give the credit.
I'm saying you're never going to be 11-1 again, so I hope you monetize.
You sure I won't be 11-1?
I know for a fact you won't be.
All right,
because nobody ever is. I was thinking after the Yankees got waxed by Toronto and embarrassed this weekend, my feelings about Aaron Judge, who's now 34 years old. Aaron Judge is batting like 450 in this series, but he only has one extra base hit, and he came down 10.
Yeah.
So it's everything he's done thus far getting on base has been a walk or a single, and in quote-unquote a high-leverage situations, a silly baseball term, he has come up very small, SMall. And it got me thinking, where do I put Aaron Judge like in the pantheon of great players who have not been great in the postseason? Because Aaron Judge is a two-time MVP. He might win a third this year. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. No one disputes that. He will not be regarded as one of the great Yankees of all time because he's come up small in the postseason and he's only been to one World Series and doesn't have any World Series rings. But great player, right? So, and that obviously they come back against Toronto. Maybe that changes, or in a future year, maybe everything goes right. So when I tweeted this over the weekend, that says, sorry to say, Aaron Judge is kind of becoming MLB's version of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Great player, multiple MVPs, but look at Lamar's numbers in the postseason. They're nowhere close to what he does in the regular season. First ballot Hall of Famer, never been to a Super Bowl, obviously doesn't have a Super Bowl win, and only has, I think, the one appearance in the AFC Championship game. Then I was thinking NBA. Aaron Judge is the James Harden. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Of the NBA.
MVP, scoring champion,
right?
He's led the league in assists, all these things.
Yep.
But in the postseason,
nothing. Right? And they're all first ballot. Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Great regular season player. Now, he's a little bit different because he plays point.
Yeah. They're all sitting
But these are the four guys we came up with. I don't do the hockey so much, so maybe there's a hockey guy you could think of, like Lundqvist or something for the Rangers. Great goalie, but never won a championship, right?
No.
But I'm looking at these guys, and there's nothing wrong, by the way, with being Lamar Jackson, Aaron Judge, Chris Paul, or James Harden,
right?
Other than your legacy isn't a lie. Your legacy is regular season, best player on the planet. Postseason, not great. And when you're a Yankee player, when you're an MVP of the NFL, yes, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you're ultimately going to be judged on what was your best moment in the postseason. Did you carry a team to a Super Bowl, to a World Series,
right,
to an NBA championship? Like, one of the reasons people adore Joe Burrow, who, by the way, can't hold Lamar Jackson's jockstrap on a football field, is that Joe Burrow did what Lamar Jackson has never done. He went into Arrowhead and he beat Patrick Mahomes and went to a Super Bowl. Right?
Lost the Super Bowl, but he got there.
Yeah. And frankly, if he has a millisecond more time on that last play where he gets sacked at the end of the game.
Yeah, against the Rams. Yeah.
He's got a wide open Jamar Chase who burnt Jalen Ramsey. Would have been a game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
But he got sacked by Aaron Donald at the very end. Well, Aaron Judge has never had those moments. Aaron Judge's biggest moment in the World Series was dropping a fly ball. It was.
Unfortunately, yes.
Lamar Jackson's biggest moment in huge playoff games is fumbling or throwing picks. Great player, Hall of Famer. And of those guys, I was trying to think which of those guys will be first to actually get to a championship and win it. Chris Paul won't be first. He's at the very end of his career and has been for 5 years.
Unless you think the Clippers are winning it this year, because it'd be hard and him checked off on at one time.
Right. So I don't think either one of those guys, I don't think the Clippers are even getting to an NBA final or the Western Conference Finals, so they're out. So then the debate comes down to, is it going to be Aaron Judge, who's now 34, or will be 34 this year, or Lamar Jackson, who's about to be on the wrong side of 30? And for me, I still think it's Lamar Jackson. And I saw the Ravens give up 40 points to the Texans yesterday. That defense is an embarrassment. But Lamar Jackson will come back after their bye week and give the Ravens a legitimate shot to just outscore people and try to get back to the playoffs and then roll the dice. I don't know that Aaron Judge has that many more opportunities.
Wow.
I don't.
Wow.
I'd like to think he does,
No, I hear
but I don't know.
Wow. I hate that because of the season he had and how things were Friday versus how things are now.
Won the batting title. He's batting literally almost 500 in this series and in this postseason, but he's got one extra base hit. Enjoy tonight's game. We'll be all over it tomorrow. And thank you so much for watching the Craig Carton Show with Tyrone Johnson. More coming up tomorrow.